What's up everybody, Jim here, Get Better with Books. Today we're gonna be talking about money. Now, a wise man once said, money won't solve all your problems, but it will solve your money problems. And as far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in ways to make a little bit more cash. From a kid, shoveling driveways, doing chores, and selling my impressive collection of Pokemon cards, to getting a little bit older and embarking in a full-time career in sales. Hey, Bill. Hey, this is Jim from... Hello? Hello? So I grew up in a middle-class family. My father owned a small manufacturing business and my mom was a stay-at-home mom to help take care of the kids. And as kids, my parents told us the same thing about money that I'm sure your parents told you growing up too. Make sure you get good grades so you can get into a good college. Make sure you get into a good college so you can get a good job. Make sure you get a good job so you can make good money. Make good money so you can, have money. And that was pretty much the extent of my financial education. Until one day in my early 20s, I stumbled across a little book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which essentially took everything that I knew or thought I knew about money and gently put it in the trash can. So here's the thing, I am by no means a money expert. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not living in the Hollywood Hills with my Ferrari in the garage. And this is by no means meant to be financial advice. But since I graduated college about 9 years ago, I've managed to pay off over $90,000 in student loans. I've built and grown a sizable nest egg. My wife and I bought our own house, and we continue to contribute to our retirement accounts every month. So why does this matter? Essentially, everything that I've learned about personal finance and money management, I've learned from reading books. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 most impactful personal finance books that I've come across, and I'm going to share a couple key takeaways from each book that I think that will help you improve your finances immediately. So make sure you stick around to the end of this video, and if you're interested, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel to get more videos like this. But in the meantime, let's get right into it. All right, first on this list, we have got Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. And the reason why it's the first on this list is because before we even get into investing strategies like stocks and bonds and index funds and retirement accounts, if your money situation is not in a good spot, if you are constantly overspending, if you are dealing with mass amounts of credit card or car payment debt, this is where you need to start. So on this book, Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey has 7 baby steps that he outlines to start from getting your situation on track, to make sure you're building out financial reserves, to start investing wisely. What I love about this book is that it is very action oriented. Like, here is step number 1. Do step number 1. You're done? Okay, move on to step number 2. And I think this is very important because if you're dealing with a lot of debt, if you're dealing with overspending issues, that can seem like it's overwhelming. It can be very intimidating. And this is the reason why I think this is the place to start, because it's a very simple step-by-step process to get out of debt and to start investing and building that sizable nest egg that you need for the future. Okay, next on this list, we have got I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit, Sethi. So I actually listened to this one on audiobook, which is why I don't have a physical copy to show you in this video, but it is easily one of the most entertaining personal finance books that you can come across. So he definitely keeps it light with humorous anecdotes, lessons that he learned from his parents growing up and his grandparents. But I think he emphasizes the number 1 most important lesson when it comes to personal finance, and that it is your responsibility. So simply put, no one is gonna do this stuff for you. And actually, if you think about it, there are billion-dollar corporations out there whose sole responsibility is to keep your ass in debt. That said, I think it just takes some awareness and some accountability that you want to better your financial situation, but you have the ability to do that. And I think part of it is just being an adult. Like, put your big boy pants on, put your big girl pants on, start taking responsibility for this stuff. Stop making excuses. Let's go. For me, one of the biggest key takeaways that I got from this book was the importance of automation. So if you want to build a nest egg, if you want to continue to invest in your retirement accounts, whether it's a 401k or an IRA, is simply by automating those payments. So at the 15th, at the 30th, at the end of the month, whenever you get paid from your day job, if that's what you do, make sure you automate those payments into your retirement account. It's easy. You don't have to think about it, and your future self is gonna say, thank you. All right, folks, number 3 on this list, we have got The Millionaire Next Door by the wise and powerful Thomas Stanley. So let's do a quick exercise. Close your eyes and try to imagine what a rich person looks like. Chances are you see a big house, a nice car, and vineyard vines. Well, it turns out we have this preconceived notion of what rich looks like. Thanks, TV. Well, as it turns out, this isn't always the case. And in The Millionaire Next Door, the author Thomas Daly and William Danko go through an extensive survey through all the millionaires, or a lot of millionaires in the United States during the 90s and 2000s. And what they found out is that most of the millionaires in the United States at that time period actually live pretty boring lives. They drive older sedans, they live in modest homes, but the key takeaway here is that they live below their means. So let's go back to that image of that millionaire that you just imagined. That big house, that nice car, those country club fees, all that adds up. And one of the key arguments in this book is that just because you make a lot of money does not mean that you are going to be wealthy. And just think about the materialistic culture that we live in. We're always interested in driving the newest cars, having the newest iPhone. It's all based on this perpetual consumption lifestyle. But here's the thing, the more things that you buy, the more expensive house that you live in, the nicer the car that you drive, all of that adds up. It just equals higher monthly bills, which means you need to make more money to pay for it, which means you need to work more hours to earn that type of money. It's just this perpetual lifestyle cycle of making more, earning more, but ultimately spending more. And this book is all about waving goodbye to that status signaling lifestyle. And in the long run, if you can commit to a lifestyle of living below your means, because the idea is if you spend less each month and you're continuing to invest in the long run, it's a no-brainer that you are going to become a millionaire in the long run. All right, number 4 in this list, we have got The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. And what I love most about this book is that the book actually lives up to its title in that it simplifies the concepts of investing, establishing good money habits, but most importantly, living a life of financial freedom. One of the things that really stood out to me in terms of how this book came to fruition was that this book actually started as a collection of letters or emails that the author J.L. Collins was writing to his daughter to help teach her more about personal finance and investing, just simply dads being dads. But there's also a lot of great perspective as to why it's important to live a life of financial freedom. And I think a lot of it has to do with just having freedom to spend more time with your family. It's important to not be shackled down to a job that you don't like, a boss that you despise, but just having a little bit more flexibility in your life and the freedom that comes from having a good financial situation. So The Simple Path to Wealth is definitely the easiest book in the stack that I mentioned today to help you understand your finances a little better. And if there's only one book that you take away from the stack that you want to improve your money habits, it's definitely this one right here. And last but not least on this list of the most impactful financial books that you can read, we have got the almighty Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Easily the most popular when it comes to the personal finance books, and for good reason. This one has sold millions of copies since it was published back in the 90s. The reason why I put this one last on the list of must-read personal finance books is because this one is less tactical, but it's more on the high-level concepts when it comes to building wealth. Things like understanding how assets work, understanding how taxes and corporations can all be beneficial vehicles to help you build substantial wealth over long periods of time. But I think one of the biggest reasons why this book has been so popular over the past few decades is that a lot of people can relate to this story. So in the beginning of this video, I talked about how my parents taught me what they thought was great financial advice. And in this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad actually takes that mindset and describes it as having the middle class mindset, where you work for money, you work for a job, and that's how you make money over the long run. So in contrary to that, in order to be wealthy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is all about accumulating assets, whether that be intellectual property, businesses, stocks, bonds, real estate, but the importance of establishing a lifelong learning habit when it comes to financial literacy. So how can you expect to grow and maintain more money without understanding how money works? That's the big question in this book. And he continues to emphasize how important it is to continue to educate yourself on personal finance. At the end of the day, one of the biggest assets that we have is our brain and our mindset and our ability to learn new things. And it's the more that you learn about how money works is going to pay off dividends in the long run. So what does this all mean? I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to taking personal responsibility and wanting to learn more about how money works. My goal is that you can take any one of these 5 books and start implementing these lessons immediately in your day-to-day lives. That's all I got for today. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Question for you, comment below. Any of these books your favorite, or is there a book that has helped you in your personal finance game that I did not list? Hit me down in the comment section below. I'll see you down there. In the meantime, this is Jim, Get Better with Books, signing out. I will see you in the next video. Peace.